The Nigerian Senate orders probe into the Federal Capital Territory Abuja demolition, summons Minister Nyesom Wike. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist TV. The Senate has ordered a thorough investigation into the recent demolitions in the Federal Capital Territory and has established a committee to probe the issue. The committee is tasked with inviting the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike to explain the reasons behind the controversial demolitions that have left many residents displaced. The motion presented by Senator Irite Kingibe of the Federal Capital Territory Senatorial District expressed alarm over the alleged illegal destructions of the properties and called for an immediate halt to any further demolitions. The Senate has mandated the committee to report its findings within a specified time frame. It was reported that more documents from the Corporate Affairs Commission CAC indicted Wike's personal lawyer Ferdinand Obe and the former People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in Cross River State in 2023 elections, Sandy Ono, in the Abuja land grabbing scandal. Sources had told our reporters that Ono, who is a director at Allet Construction Limited with a total number of 500,000 shares, is Wike's confidant, is the minister's personal lawyer that represents him in all his controversial cases. Another Wike's crony indicted by the documents in the land grabbing scandal, who are directors and shareholders in one of the front companies, Allet Construction Limited, which Wike allegedly used in reallocating the revoked lands in Federal Capital Territory, a minority leader in the House of Representatives, Honorable Kingsley Chinda. The document showed that Chinda is both a serving director in the company and a shareholder with 8 million shares. The CAC document showed that Allet Construction Limited was registered on May 14, 1997 with a registration number 307460 and address at Abada 2 Shell Oil Location Road, Igruta, Port Harcourt, River State, as a private company limited by shares. Meanwhile, the senator has summoned the managing director of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC for failing to honor invitations regarding the Odukpani Itu Highway project. The vital highway connects Idukpani in Cross River State to Itu in Akwa Ibom State, playing a crucial role in transportations and economic activities in South-South region. Senator Sita Angu sponsored a motion highlighting that despite receiving over 18 billion naira in public funds, Julius Berger has consistently neglected to provide details of their involvement in the projects. Meanwhile, the senator representing the Federal Capital Territory, Irite Kingibe, walked out of the Senate chamber angrily after being prevented from presenting a motion. Mrs. Kingibe raised the point of order to allow her to present a motion asking the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to suspend the ongoing demolitions of structures in Abuja, particularly an estate around the Life Camp area owned by the late Paul Agbebo, a retired colonel. The senator said she raised the issue during Wednesday's plenary, but the Senate President Godswill Akpabio directed her to present it at a Thursday's plenary so that the senators could have an extensive debate on it. During Thursday's plenary, Mrs. Kingibe raised the motion, but she was prevented from presenting it because it wasn't on the order paper as stipulated by the Senate rules. When Mr. Akpabio asked her why the motion wasn't on the order paper, Mrs. Kingibe explained that she submitted the draft to the Senate Committee on Rules and Business to capture it on Thursday's order paper. Responding on the issue, Titus Zam, chairman of the Senate Committee on Rules and Business, said his office did not receive a draft of the motion from the Federal Capital Territory Senator. Amid the argument, Mrs. Kingibe packed her belongings on the table and angrily walked out of the chamber. After the senator walked out, other senators such as Asuku Ekpenyong, Oyelola Ashiru, Mr. Zam, and many others approached the Senate President. They whispered in his ear, apparently to appease Mrs. Kingibe. After that, Mr. Akpabio directed Abia Central Senator Augustine Akabondo and Lagos West Senator Idiat Adebolu to inform Mrs. Kingibe to return to the chambers for a motion to be addressed. After about 5 minutes, Mrs. Kingibe walked into the chambers. The Senate President, however, ordered her to apologize to other senators for walking out angrily when the issue was still under consideration. Mrs. Kingibe refused to apologize initially, but later did so following the Senate President's insistence. The motion was later granted, and the Senate subsequently constituted an 8-man ad hoc committee to discuss the demolition with the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The Senate also resolved that the Federal Capital Development Authority should suspend the ongoing demolition of the structure except those ordered by the court until the committee finalizes its meetings with the FCTA. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has vowed to continue demolition of properties illegally built on government lands. It was reported that the minister had been criticized for embarking on a widespread demolition of houses in Abuja without due diligence and proper investigation. A construction company, Poluso Nigeria Limited, recently raised the alarm over a demolition notice issued by the Federal Capital Territory Federal Capital Development Authority to demolish its estate in the Life Camp area of Abuja. The general manager of the estate, Vincent Enogose, who spoke to journalists in Abuja, claimed that the FCDA had demanded 10 million naira for a right of occupancy, which it had paid, but was yet to receive before the issuance of the quick notice. A controversial social media influencer and critic, Martins Vincent Ose, popularly known as Very Dark Man, had accused Wike of revoking land titles belonging to the company and reallocating it to Saravera Nigerian Limited, and House of Reps Majority Leader and member representing Obiabo constituency, Kingsley Chinda, speaking during the distribution of the operational vehicles to security agencies at the FCTA Secretariat in Abuja on Thursday. Wike stated that he won't be swayed by blackmail. Wike said the structures being demolished were illegally built on government lands and gotten by land grabbers, adding that some of the structures pose security risks. The minister insisted that there was no going back and vowed to go after more illegally constructed buildings and shanties. He said, "Let me use this opportunity to tell Nigerians and residents of Abuja, we are not afraid of blackmailing. In fact, you cannot be in this kind of position and you cannot be blackmailed. Particularly regarding this Abuja, there are so many land grabbers. Some of us have come to put our feet down. Let heaven fall. It is even better that heavens come down now so that we would not be fasting again to go to heaven. We would stop anybody who thinks they will take government land for whatever reasons with formal approval. We would not look at your face. If you like, be a civil rights activist or a television personality. What is wrong is wrong. No amount of blackmail can stop us. People take government property without approval or documentation. People take government property without approval, and I have told people that there was a government yesterday and the government did not take any step. But that does not mean that another government will come today and will not take steps. You are a squatter if you like, go and carry everybody. What is wrong is wrong. You go back, you tell people to beg me. Then you go on television to tell people that they came to take your land and you said the land was allocated to a riversman. So what? Is a riversman not entitled to a land in Abuja? You tell me who that person who is entitled to have land in Abuja. The minister also warned persons who still owed ground rents in the Federal Capital Territory to pay up or risk their titles being revoked. He said all those who have not paid, who thought we were joking, I am going to revoke all, I am going to do it. You think nothing will happen? Something will happen. Go and check your records. If you have not paid, I will give you time to pay, but once the time expires, forget it. I will revoke it and allocate it to those who will pay. Wike urged the security agencies to use the provided vehicles to ensure safety of lives and properties in Federal Capital Territory, especially during the yellow tide season, noting that security was a priority function of any government. Of the 50 vehicles, 25 were allocated to the Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigerian Police Force, 5 each to the FCC Department of State Services, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Nigerian Army Guards Brigades, 2 each for the Abuja Naval Unit and the Nigerian Air Force Camp Abuja, while the remaining 6 were allocated to the Secretariat Departments and agencies of the Federal Capital Territory.